Hey everybody. So today what I wanted to talk about is a primitive survival hunting method, and it's just super basic. It's super easy, and you really kind of would overlook it or not think about it. And that is just a simple throwing stick. I've got a couple different types here. You could make them out of pretty much any kind of stick. There are a few characteristics that help make them a little bit better. I think one of the best things to make them out of is a really good and saturated pitch stump. If you can find a big piece of pitchwood or fatwood or greasewood, and then you want to make them about 24 inches long-ish, 18, maybe 18, something like that, about like this, less than shoulder width roughly. And then the diameter, you want it to be just about the size of your hand, just about the size of where you can touch your fingers to. And then the other thing is you want it to be as dense as possible, and that's why I like pitchwood or fatwood. But greenwood also works really well, or a really good hardwood like oak or something like that. Ideally, I think the best thing to do with these is to kind of shape them so that they are somewhat flat, so that they have the four corners on them. And the reason I like doing that, if you can, is because it gives you some sharp edges, so that when it makes contact with the animal, you get a little bit more of a traumatic injury there. So it's not necessary. You can definitely do it with just regular round ones, and I'll show you one of those here in a second. And a couple things to think about as far as how to use these things is, I guess, when I think about having to procure food in a survival situation, one of the things that a lot of people tend to think of is trapping. They go straight to trapping, and they kind of rely on trapping and whatnot. And I think you should definitely know how to make traps. You should use traps. You should have a trapping kit, in your bug out bag or whatever the case may be. Know how to make them, on your own and everything. But while those traps are working over in one area over here, I think that you ought to be hunting at the same time if you can be. If you've got your other survival priorities taken care of, your shelter and your fire and firewood, water and all that kind of stuff, then while those traps are working in a different area, you should be hunting as well. Because in my experience, hunting, even with primitive methods, with a throwing stick or with rocks or anything along those lines, can be just as effective as trapping. Okay, and the reason is you can use your senses, you can find the game, you can move to it, and then try to make a slow, silent stalk onto it. And a lot of times you have better luck doing that. We are built to be predators, so using those natural instincts that we have to our advantage really kind of makes a difference sometimes in a survival situation. I have personally killed grouse with a throwing stick. I have also killed little ground squirrels. I've never killed a big red squirrel or a gray squirrel, and I've had some students that killed a rabbit. So I know that they work, and you don't have to be super talented. You don't have to be really experienced with them. It's really just a matter of numbers. 9 out of 10 times you're probably going to miss, but if you throw it 100 times, that's 10 hits. So it's really just, it's all about numbers. It's just like trapping. You got to set a lot of traps out. They say 15 to 1. It's really probably even higher than that with trapping, but with throwing stick and or rocks or whatever, then you do have a chance at it. Now there is a couple of or at least one thing to think about when you're using these, and that is that kind of the natural instinct may be to want to throw like this straight overhead. I don't recommend you do that. I think the best way to throw is to throw sidearm, okay, and get a good sidearm throw on it. And the reason that is because you get a bigger surface area as this is spinning this way, and it hits your game, you got a bigger chance of hitting it. Whereas, if it's going this way, then you've got kind of a wider chance, or a narrower chance. Now, if it was a squirrel on a tree and it was up and down, then maybe you want to throw it this way. I mean, you got to kind of just think about what your target is and whatnot. But you know, a bird in a tree or you know, a rabbit on the ground or something like that, you're probably going to want to go sidearm. It really just kind of depends. So let me show you a couple of the other ones here. If you're actually actively hunting, then what I would recommend is you have a couple of them, and you have your throwing hand with one in it, your best one, and then you have a couple of other ones, which got here. You have a couple of other ones that you keep in your offhand, and the reason that is this isn't a bow and arrow or a gun, and you know, chances are if you hit that animal, it's probably going to be injured and may not knock it out, and you may have to go in for the next kill. Well, you don't know where this one's going to be, all right? It's laying over in the dirt somewhere or something. If you don't have another one as backup, then you're going to be empty-handed. You're going to run up and have to grab it, and you know, dealing with getting scratched up a bit or whatever, and you don't want to do that. So having the second one right here, put it in your good hand, you can go up, you can club it. If you can't reach it, it's in a tree or something, you've got a good follow-up shot. You know, it just kind of makes sense to have a couple of them. So that's what I recommend. So this one is just one that I pulled from the base of a tree. It's a green tree, and it meets most of the characteristics that you saw in the other one. All right, it's about, you know, 18 inches or so. It's made of green wood, so it's really heavy and dense, and it's just about the size of my hand. Okay, and that's what I'm pretty much going to look for. Now this one is round; it's not squared off, but like I said, it doesn't really make a difference. But you want it fairly smooth, and you know, don't have any obstructions on it, and all that kind of stuff, so it doesn't catch on brush or whatever as it's going through the air or anything. I mean, just kind of make it as sleek as you can. This one is another one. On the walk in, I found a pitch stump, and I just broke the pitch stump apart. It's got a big old knot on the end there, which isn't necessarily ideal, but it doesn't really hurt anything either. Because you would kind of like them to be as balanced as possible. That way they fly through the air as good as you can. But it was easy to square off too. So you know, nothing's going to be perfect in a primitive survival type situation. So I've got a couple of these, and then the other thing that I do too is as I'm walking around, if I find a really good rock, it's super simple, you know. But I see a lot of guys talk about a lot of different things. And sometimes we don't just go back to the caveman basics, and you know, so maybe you don't have a slingshot with you, or a gun, or a sidearm, or whatever the case may be, or you're out of bullets, or who knows, been separated from your gear, or whatever the case may be. Just a good old-fashioned rock, man. I mean, it really works pretty good, you know. And you want something, you know, about baseball size or whatever that's got some heft behind it too. So, you know, I keep if I'm out walking around or whatever and looking to try to hunt, you know, just keep 2 or 3 of those in your pocket as well, and then that's going to allow you to have some follow-up shots as well. If you use your throwing sticks, then you've got a couple of rocks again that you could, you know, try. I think that throwing sticks work better than rocks personally. You've got a bigger surface area, you've got a better chance of hitting them, I think. You know, if you're a pitcher on a baseball team or whatever the case may be, maybe the rocks are going to work better for you. If you hit them square with a rock, no doubt about it, they're going to go down. I killed grouse with a rock before too, and ground squirrels for that matter. But so they are effective. But I think your chances are probably a little better with the throwing stick. So anyway, give me just a second here, and I'm going to take a few throws at this tree here, just, you know, 5 yards or so back, something like that. You know, about the average distance you might get from a squirrel or a rabbit or something like that as you're walking through the woods. Yeah, so we'll do that and see what it looks like. It's been about 12 years or so since I've thrown any of these, so we'll see how it comes out. Okay, so we'll give this a shot, throwing a few of these. This one's got kind of a crack in it now, so I may bust it when I throw it, who knows. Obviously I need some practice. Yeah. Try a couple more. I got some extra kindling. Try one more time. And give it another shot. So, as you can see, it's not a perfect science. It's definitely a perishable skill. You know, if you practice it more often, you're going to be better at it. You know, and if you have good uniform size throwing sticks, that's going to help too. So, anyway, it's not the perfect hunting option by any stretch of the imagination, but it does work. It is effective, and it doesn't really take much resources. It's pretty easy to build them, pretty easy to find them. So it's definitely a good option for hunting, I think. Again, like I said, use it in conjunction with trapping. I want it to be about 18 inches or so long, about, you know, as big as you can fit your hand around. Anyhow, that's pretty much all I got for you on throwing sticks. I really appreciate it when you guys watch the videos, and definitely appreciate the thumbs up on the videos. You know, and if you think it's useful, then share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel. We'll have some more videos out here for you shortly. Thanks a bunch. Stay safe.